Hey guys, so for this tutorial I'm going to be using my size 4mm hook, my scissors and my yarn. So I'm using this Turkish brand called Amma, but I'm going to be doubling the strands cause it's quite thin, and I'm doing the gown or the sweater for winter. So if you're doing it for summer or during the hotter season, you can use a lighter yarn or you can just use one strand, but I'm going to be doubling the strand like I said. So to get started, you're going to measure from underneath your arm down to the length you want the gown to stop. So measure underneath your arm down to where you want the length of the dress or the sweater to stop. So for my foundation chain, I'm going to make a total of 80 to 85 chains. I'll let you know how many chains I do. So now I have a total of 80 chains. So I forgot to mention, I'm going to be working with two panels, so the front and the back panel, and they are both going to be identical. So whatever I do for the front panel is the same thing I'm going to do for the back panel. So right now I'm working for the front panel. Now I have a total of 80 chains. For the first row, you're going to chain one, go into the first stitch with 2 double crochets. So you're going to start increasing from this point. So I have 1 double crochet, go back into the same stitch with another double crochet. So that's making it 2 double crochet. So in the first stitch, I put 2 double crochet. Now just continue with 1 double crochet in the rest of the stitches. So yarn over, going to the next stitch, yarn over and put through 2, yarn over and put through 2, yarn over and going to the next stitch, yarn over and put through, yarn over and put through 2, yarn over and put through 2. Just continue with 1 double crochet till you get to the end of the row. So now I've come to the end of the row. I'm not going to do any increase at this end, so I'm only doing an increase at this end. Going to the last stitch with 1 double crochet, chain 1 and turn over. Now you're going to be working with the back loop of each stitch. So yarn over and go into the back loop. So this is the back loop. Yarn over and put through, yarn over and put through 2, yarn over and put through 2. So you're working 1 double crochet into the back loop of each stitch. You're just going to continue with this till you get to the end of this row. Now don't forget, you're going to be increasing on this end. So when you get to this end, you're going to put 2 double crochet. So just continue with 1 double crochet in the back loop. Okay, so now I've come to this end. So like I said, I'm going to be doing an increase at this end. So in this last stitch, go in with 2 double crochet. So in the back loop of the last stitch, go in with 2 double crochet, chain 1, turn over. In the first stitch, the first back loop, go in with 2 double crochet. So that's your increase. Now continue with 1 double crochet in the rest of the stitches. So you're just going to continue with this till you have the amount of increase you want. I'm going to be doing an increase at this end. So you're only increasing at this end, but at this end you're not doing any decrease. So I'm just going to keep on increasing till I have the amount of rows I want. I'll probably do about 15 to 18 rows of increase, but I'll definitely let you know how many rows of increase I do when I have the amount of rows I want. I did a total of 18 rows of increase and I'm on the 19th row. So I'm just going to finish up this 19th row, putting 1 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch as usual. I'm at the end of the 19th row and I'm not going to be doing any increase in this row. I'm just going to put 1 double crochet in the back loop of the last stitch, sorry. Now chain 1, turn over, put 1 double crochet in the back loop of the first stitch. So like I said, I'm not going to be doing any increase or decrease from this point. I just have 18 rows of increase, and now from here I'll just be putting 1 double crochet in each stitch without any increase or decrease. Now I'm just putting 1 double crochet till I have the amount of rows I want for my panel. So just continue with 1 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch. So you're going to continue with 1 double crochet in the back loop the same way you've been doing since the beginning of the project. So you have the amount of rows you want for the panel. I'll let you guys know how many rows of double crochet I did when I'm done with the panel, sorry. So but for now I have 18 rows of increase and I'm just going to continue without any increase till I have the amount of rows I want for the panel. Okay, so now I'm done with both panels and they're both identical. So what I did was I did 18 rows of increase and then I did a total of 22 rows of no increase or decrease. So in total I have 40 rows. So if you're size small, you can just reduce the amount of rows of increase and then do 22 rows of no increase or decrease. So 18 rows of increase and 22 rows of no increase or decrease. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join the 2 panels. So like I said, whatever you do for the front panel is what you're going to do for the back panel. So for both panels, I have a total of 40 rows of double crochet in the back loops. So now I already joined the side of the sweater. So I just stitched the side. Remember, this is going to be open because it's just one hand and there's no hand on this end. So I just stitched from this end down to that end. Now for this other side, I used my stitch marker to mark off where I want my armhole to be. But before then, I'm going to join the shoulder panel. So what I did was I used my stitch marker to mark off 14 rows from this end on both sides, and then I put my stitch marker on the 14th row of both sides. So we have our 19 rows of increase and we have our 18 rows of increase, and then I just counted 14 rows from this end and then use my stitch marker to mark the 14th row. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch the shoulder panel all the way down to where my stitch marker is. So I'm just stitching the 2 ends with a single crochet till I get to where the stitch marker is. So now I'm done stitching the shoulder panel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch the 2 sides of the panels all the way down to where my stitch marker is. So I marked off 14 inches for my armhole. So you're going to measure your arm and decide the amount of inches you want for your armhole. My arm is actually 11 inches, but I decided to add 3 more inches because I want the arm to be really free. So now I'm just going to stitch the 2 panels together. So start by I'm just going to start by attaching my yarn at this end. And then stitch all the way to where my stitch marker is. So I'm just stitching the 2 sides with a single crochet. Now I'm done stitching the 2 sides of the panel, and this is where my armhole is going to be. So for the sleeves, or rather the sleeve, because it's just one sleeve we're going to have, you're going to repeat what you did for the body of the sweater, but you're not going to be doing any form of increase or decrease. So for my sleeve, I'm going to start by making a chain of 70. You can make it longer or shorter, but I'm going to make a chain of 70 because I'm still going to have to do the cuff of the sleeve. So now I have my foundation chain of 70. I'm going to chain 1, and in the first stitch, go in with 1 double crochet. Going to the next stitch with 1 double crochet. Going to the next stitch with 1 double crochet. So like I said, I'm going to be repeating what I did for the body of the sweater, meaning I'm going to be putting 1 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch. But for the first row, just go into each stitch with 1 double crochet. So I did a total of 30 rows for the sleeve, and this gave me 14 inches because the armhole is 14 inches. So you can adjust the amount of rows based on the amount of inches you want for your sleeve. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join this to the armhole. So I'm just going to get my stitch marker. So I just used my stitch marker to mark off to join the armhole to the sleeve. So I'm going to stitch this up, and then I'll show you how to work on the neck of the sweater. Now I'm done attaching the sleeve to the body of the sweater. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the turtleneck. So what I did was I counted 18 stitches. So the 18 rows of increase, I just marked my stitch on the 18th row, and then I did the same for the other end. So I counted 18 stitches and then put my 18 rows, and put my stitch marker on the 18th row. So we have our 18 rows of increase and our 18 rows of increase. So the stitch marker is on the 18th row from this end and the 18th row from this end. So now I'm going to start by attaching my yarn on this stitch where my stitch marker is. So now I can just remove the stitch marker. So now that my yarn is secured, I'm going to start by making a chain of 30. So you can reduce the amount of chain you're going to do. It all depends on how wide you want the neck to be. So I'm going to make a chain of 30. So now I have a total of 30 chains. I'm going to attach the chain to this other end where the stitch marker is. Now I can remove the stitch marker. So we have our 30 chains. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around with 1 single crochet. So chain 1 and put 1 single crochet. So what I'm doing is I'm putting one single crochet into the stitch and then the next stitch in it. So just continue with one single crochet till you get back to this end. Okay, I'm done going around with one single crochet, and now I'm back to this end. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to make a chain that is going to give me the length I want for my turtleneck. So the amount of chains you make is the amount of chains you want for the turtleneck, or the length you want for your turtleneck. So for my turtleneck, I'm going to do a chain of 40 because I want to be able to fold the neck. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I have my 40 chains. I'm going to chain 1. In the first stitch, go in with 1 double crochet. Going to the next stitch with 1 double crochet, and the next stitch with 1 double crochet. So just continue with 1 double crochet till you're at the end of the row, till you get to this end. So I've come to this end. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch to close up the round. So slip stitch into the next stitch to close up the round, and then slip stitch into the next stitch to start a new round. Then turn over. Now I'll be working with the back loop of each stitch, so put 1 double crochet into the back loop of each stitch. I've come to this end. I'm going to chain 1, turn over, put 1 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch. So just continue with 1 double crochet in the back loop till you get to this end, and I'll show you how to do this side one more time. So I've come to the end of this row. What I'm going to do now is slip stitch into the next stitch to close up the round, and then slip stitch into the next stitch to start up a new round. So each time you come to this end, slip stitch into the next stitch to close up the round, and then slip stitch into the next stitch to start up a new round, meaning you'll be slip stitching twice in 2 different stitches. Now turn over and go into the back loop of each stitch with 1 double crochet. So now you're going to continue with this till you're done going around the whole of the neck, and then I'll show you guys what to do next. So just continue putting 1 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch. So I'm done with the neck of the sweater, and then I joined the 2 sides with a single crochet. Now I'm going to work on the cuff of the sweater. So for the cuff of the sweater, I'm going to repeat what I did for the neck, except I'll be working with single crochet instead of double crochet. So I'm just going to start by attaching my yarn at any end. Chain 1. Now I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch till I'm done going around the sleeve hole. Now I'm done going around with one single crochet, so I'm going to make a chain of 15. So it all depends on how long you want the cuff of the sweater to be. So I'm making a chain of 15. Now I have a total of 15 chains. Chain 1. Now in the first stitch, go in with one single crochet. So like I said, I'll be repeating what I did for the neck of the sweater, except I'll be working with single crochet. So just put one single crochet in each stitch till you get to the end. So now I've come to this end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch to close up the round, and then slip stitch into the next stitch to start in your round. Turn over. Now just put one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. So now I've come to this end. Chain 1, turn over, put one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch till you get to the end of the row. And getting to this end, you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch to close up the round, and then slip stitch into the next stitch to start a new round. Then turn over and continue with one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. So you're going to continue with these two. You're then going around the hole, and I'll show you guys what to do next. So I'm done with the sweater, and for the hem of the sweater, I repeated what I did for the cuff. So I chained 15 and just did what I did for the cuff. So you can skip this part and just wear the sweater the way it is, or you can add this. It all depends on you. So I'm done, and this is what it looks like. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I'm going to see you guys in my next tutorial. And if you have any question, you can always leave a comment down in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply and answer your questions.